Muy buenas noches. Good evening. I first of all want to thank the divine that has blessed us all with another day so that we could share tonight. I want to thank Ezra for your touching write-up and nomination. And with that, I want to add an adjunct to thank PG&E as a corporation who has invested in our communities, believing in economic vitality and recognizing that the way communities thrive is to help them create jobs. And that's a partnership that we appreciate. We in San Mateo County have done 15,000 houses, but region-wide, there has been 120,000 people served last year for programs to help them reduce their energy burden. People on fixed income that have to make choices between paying a utility bill, buying medicine for their children, buying their school clothes. We see these people every day. So from that, what we've learned is, how do you break the poverty cycle? You hire them. You give them jobs. You give them decent salaries. You give them health benefits. And they become part of that community. The community builds and grows. I also want to thank the United Way. I am a former proud board member of the United Way in the early 90s. And I salute Ann and her staff for continuing the continuous years of services, specular level, exemplary level, and how it's connected, and becoming more innovative. Important. You know, the video, I think, said it all that we haven't seen. But it talks about access. It talks about rights of education and health for all. It talks about making sure everybody is part of the solution. And I think I'm going to walk you through a little journey of my life, short. But maybe it might resonate a little bit about what opportunities, what belief, what faith, what bringing together brings. As a Chicana raised in South Central LA, California, we used to call it Hollywatts. Most people knew it as Watts. I never imagined myself up here receiving this award. My initial goal was to become a psychologist and work with youth. But the divine had other plans, and so for the last 40 years, I have worked in the nonprofit sector. Some experiences and some people that influenced me started with my mother, who taught me about unconditional love, who taught me about respect for others and respect for self, who taught me about the importance of family, and who always said, share your blessings and they will come back to you, and they have. My father taught me about culture and family and retained that with us to ensure we had the foods, the dancing, the music, the partying, and the history of our families to remind us who we were, we had some roots, and we could contribute. My commitment to work came from my grandfather, who used to take us to the fields in the summers to augment. My parents were poor, but we would go to the fields. And it was Gilroy, it was Fresno, it was Chochila, it was all these little towns. For us, it was an experience of traveling, of having fresh fruits and vegetables every day, and of learning how really people that live year-round in migrant camps live. Because for us, it was just the summer. The true people that can tell you the story are those that do it year-round, going from camp to camp, trying to find work for their families. I also had mentors who believed in me, promised in me, encouraged and supported me, and continually to encourage me to cultivate my skills and achieve educational attainments. Again, access, education, health ought to be rights for everybody, belief, and involving everybody in the solution. What have I learned? One of my best experiences was 10 years ago when we started working in East Palo Alto, who I don't know how many of you know, but in 1984 it was the #1 homicide city in the country. Drugs were rampant, homicide were rampant. We were trying to work with our youth, and it finally occurred to us is, let's ask the youth what we should do. And they told us, you know what, there's no rocket science. We need jobs. If you don't want us to be in the streets, if you don't want us to be with drugs, just get us some jobs. And then Remind us that you care. In this town, the only time we come in contact with police is when they put a bus against the wall. Anyway, we created this project called Sponsor Employment, which you have supported, where we hire 100 youth every summer. We raise the money, we place them in nonprofits. It's a relationship-based employment because we each give them a mentor. And if you will see them where they are now, jobs, back in school, starting businesses, it's little things like that. And I share that because we have to engage the community if we want a community built. They have to be part of the solution. We have our heart's in the right place, we have good ideas, but if we don't engage them and involve them, it's not going to be the right answer, and they will not thrive. And I think that's important. So I'm just going to share some of the things I've learned. I've learned that if you honor your work will honor you. If you respect and honor the people you serve, it will come back to you. As being a leader is being a servant. There is a difference between helping people and teaching them how to help themselves. I believe we need to blend assertive programs that include accountability and compassion in social delivery that allows people to believe in themselves. A belief is a value working to make things better and that all things are possible as long as everyone is part of the solution. We are role models for our families, for our children, for our friends, and other youth. How I act is how I think of myself. I try to maintain integrity in doing what I say and do it. The Bible says to be fruitful, not deceitful. Thus, don't eat thine own fruit. Lastly, we must remember those before us and those who will come after us. If you struggle and don't succeed, it's because someone else will. If you succeed and didn't struggle, it's because someone else did. Lastly, patience in others is love. Patience in self is hope. Patience in God is faith. I want to dedicate this award to all the unsung heroes that work for our communities, with our communities, in our communities, because they are the ones that deserve it. I thank you and God bless all.